Hello everyone, my name is Oscar Estrada Jr. I am 20 years old and currently in my second year at JJC. My current major of study is business administration, but recently, after current events, I've come to a change of heart and decided that for the spring semester, I will be switching over to EMS/fire science, simply because recently I've faced a lot of trauma, personal trauma, family trauma that honestly could have been prevented that really could have been prevented there. And I've also seen or experienced other family members and friends, loved ones who have gone through the same sort of trauma with their family members. Therefore, in my wholehearted, me being a wholehearted person, I decided that EMS would be a very So me being a wholehearted individual, I've decided that EMS would help not only my personal trauma, but also help others in their traumatic experiences as well. But also, I do have a passion for helping others. Therefore, that is the main reason as to why I chose to switch over to EMS/fire science. Now, as for my first item that I brought for Life in a Bag, it is something very personal to me because this is something that has been part of my life for about 14 years and still continues to be part of my life, just not as serious as it was before. And the item is currently a soccer ball. Now, this obviously I know I would have brought an actual soccer ball, but I just decided since recently my baby nephew hasn't actually been getting into soccer, I thought I'd just steal this from him, especially since he's not here every day. So shout out to him. But anyways, yes, soccer has been a very important part of my life because of the fact that I've been playing I played it for 14 years, both on both sides, competitively and non-competitively. And honestly, do really miss those days of playing competitive soccer. The teammates, friends that I've made, some of which I still stay connected to this day, which is very surprising to me. But other than that, soccer is still continues to be a very important part of my life because with the trauma that I face, it feels like a secondhand therapy apart from the gym. Now, as for my second item, it is what we call a patrol cap. So, very interesting fact about me is back in 2023, after graduating from Joliet Junior College, I enlisted into the United States Army. I enlisted as a 91 Alpha, which is a Abrams tank mechanic. But unfortunately, because of the fact that we don't have tanks here in Illinois, I practically work as a 91 Bravo, which is a heavy wheeled vehicle mechanic. So in basic terms, I just work on big wheel trucks. Now, as for my third item, I brought a Spider-Man plushie. Now, this plushie is actually a gift, or is a gift from my girlfriend, because she knows how much I love Spider-Man ever since I was a kid, and clearly as from the shirt. This was one of my very first icons as a child. Ever since I watched the very first Spider-Man movie from the original trilogy with Tobey Maguire. And I remember a very fond memory of mine is when I would say 4 years old, when I went to Orlando Studios for the very first time with my family. And pause it. So therefore, it just felt really unrealistic to be able to meet my superhero icon at such a young age. Now, as for my last item, I brought a very iconic ghost face mask. Now, the reason I brought a ghost face mask is because growing up, even though I was very terrified of horror movies because the very first horror movie I saw at 4 or 5 years old was Chucky. Eventually, I learned to love him. And the second horror movie that I watched as a child was Scream, and ever since watching it with my older sister, me and her have had a very passionate love for Halloween, or not just the movie itself, but for the holiday of Halloween in general. And I'm such a big fan that I even ended up getting a tattoo of him. Hasta. Therefore, this is my life in a bag. This is my life in a bag, and I hope you have all enjoyed. Thank you.